In a world of chaos, cams, and chainsaws, the Fiends, or the Chem Fiends, aren't like your other raiders in Fallout. But to thoroughly understand them, we need to separate them in two categories. The ones that fall under the leadership of Mortimer, and those that were expelled from Fiend territory. The other leaders of this violent yet frail organization include Cook, Violet, and Driver Nephi, whom the NCR would very much like to be delivered their heads on a platter. Literally. Unmangled. Recognizably. Enemies of the NCR and allies, well, more like acquainted traitors with the Great Khans. The Fiend's other important members include Daniel, Motor Runner's right-hand man in the vault, and Duke, one of the only 5 Very Evil Karma NPCs in the entire game, alongside Cook. As for how the Fiends got a foothold on Vault 3, they prepared a raid, only to be invited in by the naive folk wanting to trade with the outside world. This got every single Vault 3 dweller slaughtered to their last man. But if we're set on playing as a Fiend, and this one was recommended by you, there's an obvious conundrum to decide. Fiends, they don't play fair, not even amongst themselves, especially if they've been outcasted by Motor Runner. Hell, the average Fiend wouldn't just prey on you in hopes of chems, foods, and loots. They'd also have no issue preying on each other. Gameplay-wise, it makes sense that you don't see that, after all. They've been coded as a single faction, but lore-wise, it's actually extremely common for them to fight between themselves, backstabbing each other for their selfish needs. And in terms of crimes, or rather atrocities, if you can think of it, they've done it, and they'll do it again. So, you see the predicament I'm in. How does one go about it as a Fiend? Would you pledge allegiance to Motor Runner only to not even get the tiniest recognition on an evil ending, just so you can hear in the credits that the Fiends have overran Camp McCarran and expanded over Outer Vegas? Or would you do it for yourself, your needs, your musts, your unrelentless thirst of booze, insatiable hunger of chems, your anarchy? This is your story. Fuck a commune where a guy with a chainsaw rations your chems for allegiance and has his favorites. He'll never even include you. I want it all. I need it all on site and now. No chem left unconsumed or spared for later. Bars must be left dry, and if the bartenders won't sell me what's on site, I'll take it for myself. Traders exist only to fuel my needs. I'll spare them if they keep making themselves useful, as I simply must buy all of their stock that tickles my fancy if I so much set my eyes on it. And they better restock. If they know what's good for them, everyone's gonna listen. They're gonna do as I please. They won't have a choice. I'll become the most feared man in the Mojave. I'll make sure everyone knows the tale of RedEye. And so, can you beat Fallout New Vegas as a Fiend? A tickle to the brain and a weird dream later, and the courier now has severe unmanageable needs. The stats we're gonna go with are 10 in endurance, agility, and luck, 7 in strength, and 1 in everything else. Her best skills are melee weapons, energy weapons, and medicine. And as for the traits that most define her, they are Built to Destroy and Logan's Loophole. Now, just to make the rules extremely clear, I can only use weapons and armor associated with the Fiends. That includes anything that the big names have in their inventory, except that I can buy. As for the common Fiends, sometimes they have random weapons. Those I can only use if I loot from the common Fiends. Loot from anyone else, sold to fuel my chem addiction. No saving chems or booze for later. If I see it, I take it. If I take it, I use it. And if I forget something, which is guaranteed because I'll be looting whole areas, I can save them to make combat easier or anything of the sort. Now, obviously surviving on chems is gonna be a full-time job, so the first thing I do is to grant me a 5-figure discount on the town's valuables, starting with Doc Mitchell's freebies. We get ourselves some 8 items, ammo, a knife, which Violet uses, and he gives us the courier stash goodies. I start looking for magazines. Thank Victor, cause we're Chem Fiends, not ungrateful bastards, and it seems like a sandstorm passed through me. Except that's not a thing, so maybe it's time to focus on being an ungrateful bastard. I'll take the cue. And luckily, my thirst gets quenched by some whiskey that I found in a fridge, and vodka that I found on a fridge. See, even a run like this can be educational. In Victor's shack, I get me the fission batteries, ammo, the weapon repair kits, and through the rest of the houses, I go on to get me the sneak skill book, more whiskey, and even some buff outs. In the schoolhouse, we have to fend off a handful of hungry, carnivorous giant mantises. Luckily, they're super weak, cause so is the knife. And so the quest for magazines continues. I won't be able to open the safe in this one, so I just go to the general store, sell some of the things I cannot use, and get me a shovel. And because I'm forced to buy whatever he has in store, for breakfast we had beer, jet, and rebound. And as I was grave digging, we found some psycho, more rebound, ammo, I got the snow globe. I promise, this won't feel like a shopping list. I'm just giving you an idea of how it's gonna go. Anyways, I visited the old apartment Benny gifted me, found butts, and sneakily entered the saloon shed, where I rehoused plenty of moonshine to my belly. And got me a couple fishing batteries. And so the bar hopping begins. We introduce ourselves to Sunny Smiles. She gives us a locksmithing magazine, and I pretend that I care about the tutorial. She leaves and the frenzy begins. Beer, whiskey, magazines, and a lot more beer, wine, vodka, scotch, and right. I'm being watched.
Way too many strangers coming into town these days. No offense.
Based. No offense taken. Only all the drinks, so in a power play I chug 4 beers, 5 vodkas, got the day tripper perk from using 25 chems. Followed it by downing 3 more whiskeys, 4 wines, and realized that our bonuses will now affect us for longer. Nice. Sunny then insists on the tutorial. I cannot use the knife on it. And these aren't enemies, so whatever. When she asks if I want to go shoot some geckos, I decline. I'm much more interested in seeing if Trudy's got some sweets for my particular tastes. Oh, and Joe Mama's done being nice. 7 bad decisions later, I go into the gas station where Ringo's holed up because of Cobb and the powder gangers. I offer to help out, grab another bottle, and backstab him. Cause he drank the other 2. And since we're at it, might as well see what other sorts of loot we can get. And lo and behold, this settler had some steady. Chat, Doc Mitchell, Easy Pete, they didn't have anything of value to me. And oh right, I forgot to tell you, no witnesses. No witnesses. Level 2 comes around, I improve my melee weapon skill, take the Black Widow perk, and find out that Sunny's an all-knowing beast. After saying "Init bruv" a couple stabby times, we're now vilified in Good Springs, baby! Not even the big horners get to read, and that's when I see Victor and the knife's atrocious. Fortunately, on the second attempt, so was his AI. I then took a nap, fought some coyotes, and as I was waiting to make it daytime for better lighting, Malcolm Holmes looks terribly blue. Although it's not his fault, it's the effects wearing off at the same time. From my chems. But no matter, I give him a physical cue on how I feel about being followed. And go into Good Springs Sinkhole, the Devil's Gullet, where more ammo, a star cap, and some Hydra awaits us. And since we're here, might as well go to the Yangtze Memorial. In fact, I'll be exploring a ton of the area surrounding Good Springs. Near the monument, I turn a rat scorpion into a Swiss cheese sculpture and do some more grave digging. And in the abandoned shack, there's a 9 iron. The Vol 3 Fiend guards use these, and thus so can I. I also grabbed a machete, but that's to sell later. In Good Springs Cave, and against more coyotes, I'm starting to get why Driver Nephi has a thing for golf clubs. It just has a nice calming feel to it. Don't forget the pup. And all we got was just more loot to sell. I came back to town because I remembered that Joe Cobb exists, so I made sure he'd move on to other endeavors. And you know, when you see a warning that says something like, put the toilet paper in the trash can, or don't put your dick in the toaster, well, this stealth boy. That's the reason I said in the intro that if I forget to use something, I won't be saving it for later. It's gonna take me a minute. As I keep exploring, I find Barton Thorne. Oh no, his girl is trapped by the geckos on the ridge. There is no girl. Unfortunately, there are geckos, so I beat the ever-living crap out of them for not having chems. Reach level 3, put more points into melee, and go on to visit Lone Wolf Radio, where I found some good tech, another star cap, and a wasteland survival guide. And there I was, completely reading past the stealth boy, just living in the moment, thinking about showing my golf club to whatever bit of fun I dared move. Great times. In Gene skydiving, I still don't have radar armor. And then I see 2 powder gangers running straight at me, but apparently they were just jogging. A rotting packed ramen had some scotch. And if only that Pip-Boy had placed it atop the stealth boy, maybe my smooth brain would have noticed it. But absolutely nothing could have been done. In Sloan, Chomps warns us about the death claws up north, but why would I listen to a guy named Chomps? Instead, here's Snuffles! We're gonna patch her leg. and steal all of their money, and scrap their generator for parts and start killing them. I found an issue of Dean's Electronics and another of Duck and Cover. Some more whiskey and buff out, and the onslaught continued. And Chomps has a sledgehammer. You know who else has a sledgehammer? Daniel. Not the wimp from Honest Hearts. The second in command. Oh, and yeah, Snuffles had to go. I tried, but once you bite the hand that feeds you get put down. In the mess hall, Yas Wilkins, who is famous for having a line to respond to the cannibal perk, doesn't realize that strange meat pie is quite literally a man-made dish. Anyways, whiskey. Still no stealth boy, and come on, give me a break. If that thing was named Combat Cam, that's actually a box with a button, I would have remembered by now. After another nap, 3 quarry workers came back from what I can only assume to be rat scorpions getting too close to town. And the 9 iron breaks, so I'll go back to the knife, cause for some reason I thought it would be cool to not use the sledgehammer in Sloan, since it's strong. After seeing the fight take longer than it should, I equipped the sledgehammer for the rat scorpions on the way to Neil's shack. Couple of years later, Neil warns us that it isn't just Deathclaws. There's also super mutants and Nightkin around. Good thing that my plan is to do the Vegas skip, cause otherwise I'd be in a pinch. I also grabbed a couple frag grenades since both Duke and Daniel can use them. Jumped over the right rock and made my way until the NCR safe house map marker. From here until Freeside, we're safe. But first, I'm gonna pass through Rapcon's headquarters and go into the 188 trading post. Sell some of the deadweight that I'm carrying, and that's when going over the inventory. Finally! I noticed an extremely out of place stealth boy. Anyways, and because I'm holding more money than I genuinely expected to have when I planned the run, I decided to get me a power fist and a service rifle. By the way, the fist, that's used by Daniel, and the rifle, that's by Duke, and that's the last you're probably gonna hear of those two. And yes, I immediately used the stealth boy. Got me another star cap, cause they're just fun to collect, and looky here. I wouldn't call it a bar, but I will call it mine. Samuel had some more in store, so I bought it. And I'm gonna leave this place in peace, cause both Samuel's repair skills and the arms merchant might come in handy later. I then backtrack, go past Rapcon, and on my way to Freeside find some vodka on Cassidy Caravan wreckage. But here's something clicked. What if I go the other way around and make sure we encounter some fiends fighting with the NCR? It's free loot, and I'm still not wearing any apparel other than the inequipable basics of a t-shirt and panties, so yeah, let's get some armor. That and see what else we can find. Fiend helmet, Raider sadist armor, and this common fiend has a laser rifle, so that's now on the menu. Not that I have a single intention of using it, but from now on I could. The NCR pretty much melted these guys, and the warrior helmet and the paint spike armor are basically just skins. Pull Qs are also a thing that could be a thing yet won't be a thing, and so are baseball bats and plasma rifles. For fashion souls, I'm gonna go for the Fiend warrior helmet and the Raider paint spike armor, and this isn't up for debate, it's the only right choice. Through the power of fisting, we've also unlocked caravan shotguns, and that got me to level 4. I put more points into melee, even though yes, the power fist is unarmed. I know, and I took the cannibal perk, cause like I said about the fiends, if you can think of a crime, they've done it, and they'll do it again. So we snack up, and I realized the stealth boy was in effect. Good thing it was against common fiends. Had it been a strong enemy, that would have been awkward. So yeah, I waited, fought some more of these guys, and locked a laser RC whatever. And look, you can see my hands now. Cosmic balance has been achieved. I also got reminded that stimpaks exist for a reason, and we look great. I then passed through Camp McCarran, the NCR sharecropper farms, and in the Gunrunners, we aren't just restricted to Raider armor. In fact, I knew exactly where I could get some metal armor, and I'm not talking about the Gunrunners, but I have money. That and well, honestly, I thought it would be so much more expensive. I cannot resist. Oh, by the way, it's Cook and Duke that wear it. And on the New Vegas Medical Clinic, we can use some of our intelligence one to get us some great dialogue.
If you've got the caps, I've also got several implants available to enhance your physical attributes.
You sell plants too?
No. Implants, not plants. They're little machines I can put inside you to make you faster, quicker, or smarter. I recommend the smarter implant.
Unfortunately, most doctors don't sell chems, so to Freeside, where Dixon sells a ton of watered-down chems. Though he has some of the regular stuff alongside it, so I buy every single bit of it. And then I use all of it. Ralph also had some of the good stuff, and where there's smoke, there's fire. So I started going around making Ralphs, found some things I wanted that they wouldn't sell me. And long story short, I might have punched them a bit too hard. Had they been cool like Dixon, this wouldn't been a thing, but they weren't. Oh, and they've got 150 rocket souvenirs in a vending machine upstairs. Don't know why. I then get shunned by Freeside as I'm looting, even though no one saw me, but we found Psycho and lots more booze, and never mind, I'm now hated. A vagrant laughed at me, so I had the last laugh. And even though I was being unhinged, a couple fools thought they'd do well in trying to mug me. And since we ain't vilified yet, I purposefully went to the other ambush, and it ended quite predictably, as you can imagine. For a change, I did a good deed and helped the kid that really wanted giant rat for dinner. Now, like I said, I knew that there would be metal armor around, specifically around Oris, so I made sure to still get it, in case I need to repair it myself. And then...
Give me all your cap! Whoa! I'm sorry. I didn't know it was you. Please don't hurt me. I've got a wife, and kids, and pets and stuff.
I don't care, you're an NPC. At this point, I'm gonna have to put the game down for 2 to 3 years. Or include some philosophical rules of morals and ethics, to simulate overall morals and ethics. Then I punch Gennaro, a local, and Tapper. And I'm still not vilified, oh well. To the Atomic Wrangler.
Howdy.
I went to the kitchen and the Garrett twins weren't too pleased. Little did they know that if they allowed me to get my way, everyone in the casino would have survived, but now, because of their selfishness, no one did. This brought me to level 5. Points to melee. I got the rest of the booze, and since we're at it, might as well empty their little bank. I have no clue why they stored some of the beverages in safes, but hey, the more, the merrier. Old Man then warns us about the cop check, a squatter tries to get into the strip, so I do everyone's favorite cyborg mummy a solid. And in terms of credit check, we don't have enough money. So instead, I go into the old Mormon fort, get the second snow globe, rest to replenish my health, sell some junk to Julie, repair my own equipment, and that's when I see Arcade Cannon, who will react to our low intelligence.
No offense intended, but why should I go anywhere with you?
This place is really complicated and stuff. You're smart. Can you help me do things?
Wow. You sound like you really do need some help. Look, I can help you out, but you can't do anything stupid. I mean, you can't help bad people who want to hurt the locals in Freeside. If you do, I'll leave. Does that make sense?
Anyways, I punched him, and in trying to do the exact same to everyone else, got really overwhelming really fast, so I just ran into one of the tents, climbed the table, and dealt with them one by one. And this took way more stimpaks than I would have liked, but, you know, it also took a while, a good while. But finally, we're vilified, in both Freeside and by the followers. And then, after a quick nap, I noticed a doctor left standing.
I don't know what you have against the followers, but I don't want any trouble.
What a chill guy. Aight, he gets to live. I then sold a lot of stuff to the Vendertron, and instead of going immediately to the strip, I decided to make some patties. Got Abilene from Phil's shack, and popped the stealth boy I found in one of the ammo containers inside it. And here comes George, the boomer that's not really part of the boomers. He wants to make a bet, and I want to punch him in the face. Long story short, I'm 420 caps richer, and about to realize that stealth boys are useless in trying to avoid a bombardment. So I just go towards the left hill, pop stimpaks as need be, and make my way to the gate, where this time, I'm the one in disbelief. Alas, Raquel goes on to tell me that their elder had a dream, and we get to find that Mother Pearl has been eagerly awaiting for someone to reach them. As if she wasn't responsible for so many people getting blown to smithereens. Hell, even George turned it into a full-time job. Anyways, I started looting, found some drinks, ammo, and combat armor to sell later. Get the third snow globe and go into the hangar where a lot more loot is waiting for me. Jack, he got the sucker punch of a lifetime. We become hated, Loyal is sturdier than I remember, level 6 comes around, more points to melee, and I take on the Bloody Mess perk. Being almost over-encumbered, I fast travel back to the 188 and get me a chainsaw. The Gunrunner's Arsenal variant. And I make sure to get some weapon mods for it too. Motorrunner has one, and the way I see it, since caps aren't gonna be a problem, then might as well spend them. And it was oh so enticing for me to choose a weapon that would fit a Fiend leader, like Jahina. The unique shish kebab. I do think it would really fit the run, but let's keep the rules tight. If Motorrunner can run a chainsaw, I'll gladly run a better one, because we're better than Motorrunner. He's a Fiend. We are the Fiend. Back in Nellis and in the mess hall and munition storage, I'm gonna be making a mess and taking much more than munitions. These douchebags didn't start parrying my chainsaw, so fine, that's it is. And this took even longer and many more stimpaks than the followers did, but honestly, it's just one of those things that absolutely comes off as more boring than it does hard, cause it's doable. Especially since everyone and their mother seem to have spawned in the building. As for our rewards, oh, they just made us rich. And then someone got to me. What's weird is that when the game reloaded, I didn't encounter a single boomer in the building. Well, alive that is. So I just packed my missile launchers and the rest of the explosives and combat armor and realized still wasn't vilified. Quite predictably, running around being a homicidal maniac worked wonders to achieve that reputation. Back to the New Vegas medical clinic to replenish my stash of stimpaks and right. The followers, they hate us, so of course the clinic does as well. I forgot about that, so much so that I immediately came back out, ran till I could wait, waited for 3 days and came back in. Only for the sweet realization that it was the reputation, so Uzanagi's had a fatal migraine. The Vendertron made me even richer, I repaired my armor the best I could, which wasn't much, so Samuel helped out. I also made sure to get the cams he had available, indulged myself, waited, sold some more stuff. Threw some bought items into repairing my gear again, and Westside's bound to have a bar. Mean son of a bitch sounds about as smart as RedEye, so smart enough to leave each other alone. Although in my case, it's cause Westside has no reputation meter to it. In the Casa Madrid apartments, I was exploring for my needs when Anderson came shooting. I guess he's affiliated with the followers? Ah yes, New Vegas, the game where a courier becomes affected by everyone seemingly having godlike omniscience if you mess with a faction. Lovely. And then came Sweetie for a mere 300 caps. We spent the night playing the most type game of rock, paper, scissors. After the bean clash came the pub crawl. Klamath Bob sold me the liquor he had in his inventory, so feeling well rested and all warm and fuzzy, it's time to go evade some cazadors by following the roads. Here in the northwest of the map, I found some more goodies in the Griffinware sacked caravan. Made my way to Brooks Tumbleweed Ranch to revisit one of my favorite encounters, and an NCR ranger showed up with fighting words.
Since you haven't pissed yourself, I'll assume that you don't know who we are. Next time I'll bring my sickle and wear my black cloak.
We're then told we have 3 days to improve our reputation, or else. So I offered to deal with this right here, right now.
Crap. You don't even want to live a few more days? Go. Get laid one more time or something.
Just did. And thankfully this punching sash proved quite fruitful. You see, the rangers have stimpaks on them. Stimpaks that I'll very much appreciate. In the ranch's building we find another skill book, and during nighttime we get to meet a nightkin that wants to sell us Wind Brahmin, the tumbleweeds. Are you crazy?
Crazy with low prices on Wind Brahmin.
How much?
Oh.
Yeah, no, I only came here because we'll be getting a stealth boy after defeating the Nightkin. This triggers level 8, I max melee, dump the rest into medicine so stimpaks can become more useful, and choose the toughness perk. On the way to Jacobstown, all we had to worry about were a couple of mantises, so in no time, Marcus is saying hi. And Lily's batshit insane! I love Lily!
Jimmy! Little Jimmy! My, how you're grown up! So good of you to come visit your grandma.
Anyways, Snow Globe, and as we're going south, a couple Scorpions members had really poor decision-making skills. And so had some Fiends. These are the ones guarding a shipment that would be useful for the Omertas. And well, since they attacked me, I'm not just gonna leave it there. Now, how about some Cazador hell for a change? After all, Brewer's Beer bootlegging sounds like a must-go location for us to visit. I want that beer. I'll be honest, I knew there would be Cazadors, I just didn't remember how hellish these would be with a chainsaw. And less than an ideal number of stimpaks. Or anti-venom. The first attempt didn't exactly go well, yeah. But between VOTs and several attempts, I saw some cazadores move away, so I made the run for it. Hoped they wouldn't spawn beside me in the cabin, and they didn't. And what do I spy with my little eye? Jet, whiskey, mantats, beer, the key, scotch, oh this is great. So, first we chug, and then we go to the cellar. Good thing that there was a bed to rest. I also found a big book of science, another key, but even though there was a sign with, and God said let them have beer, it seems the brewer forgot to brew a ton of beer. And don't get me wrong, there was some, just not nearly as much as I expected. You can't even tap into the barrels, and the key just led me to some miscellaneous loot. So I got back out, tried to fast travel immediately, and couldn't. Had the cazadores attacked me all at the same time, I would have been doomed, but they came at me once at a time, and they got staggered on the chainsaw. Peak luck. I got every single poison gland I could, cause those can fetch a pretty penny. And I was so happy to see more steampack containers getting sent my way. The NCR Rangers didn't stand a chance, and neither did the fire geckos near Red Rock Canyon. And in terms of the Great Khans, I've got something special planned for later, so I'll just be taking the map marker, their turbo, and whatever Jack and Diane are willing to sell me. Diane asks us to help one of their chem runners, Anders, and the way I see it, the more chems are in the Mojave, the better it is for me. And since Jack had cat eye, we're now rocking blue visuals. The centaurs near Hidden Valley are now lost footage. Not that it matters, but I got me the Brotherhood's password, looted that unit's power armor, reached level 9 and kept improving my stimpaks. A tiny detour to the 188 had me sell more junk, buy more chems, and repair my armor. And since I'm here, and since this is already gonna be a huge video, and because I don't enjoy having explosive colors around my neck, Veronica gets the privilege of becoming my keychain once again. She teases the tin cans, Ramos says hi, and because not everything needs to be a bar fight with extra steps, but also cause these guys aren't exactly storing chems, I'm gonna loot the 3 passwords, generate the self-destruct key, which funny enough, no one cares if I do. And then we'll make a legendary barbecue that even Cook would be jealous of. Pressing the last button though, that makes us vilified, and making a run for it makes Veronica really mad.
Clearly you're determined to fight the Brotherhood.
Fight? Girl, from now on, you are the Mojave's chapter of the Brotherhood. Well, were. Sorry. We'll meet again though. Thanks. And as I kept going south, showing a couple Pottergangers my chainsaw, that was enough to become vilified. Good. Ain't like I was looking forward to go hoard dynamite from the NCR Correctional Facility.
Hey, where the hell do you think you're going? Prim is off limits.
Not to me, it isn't. A bunch of escaped convicts have taken over the town, and fortunately for them, the Vic in Van's casino has a bar. That, and I'll need a couple map markers, so I may as well complete They Went That-A-Way. First we find Courier 4. Daniel Wyand. Seems like the Mojave Express isn't on a roll. After getting some of Ruby's casserole, it's time to rid Prim of its plague, so in the Vice and Steve Hotel, I put the chainsaw to good use. Get another star cap, and skillbook, utterly destroy the rest of the bunch, and I gain the Lord Death perk. I turn Deputy Beagle into a puzzle, get his holotape, and we now know that Benny and the Great Khans have gone to Novak through Nipton. But first, let's have another round. On me.
I don't know what it was brought you to Prim, youngster, but you might want to rethink your plans. Town's gone to hell.
But it could be so much worse. Well, this is bad. For me. They've drank everything already. Good thing I remember that Nash is a traitor. However, there are some chems in the bank, and since they're not gonna let me do as I please without a fight, they now don't get to survive. Dummies? And Ruby's getting old, cause even after all the commotion, she seemed to have not heard a thing. In the end, I decided to not separate her from her husband. Especially cause she was a couple feet from finding out what's up, and Prim Slim cannot attack. How a Protectorn can be worse than Fallout 4 Ibot levels of useless is beyond me. As I pass through Ivan Pass Dry Lake, the NCR has once again sent me stimpaks. This is great! Up next, it's time to go and have another drink. This time in the Mojave Outpost. There were a couple beers outside and even more on display, although Lacey, Cass, and the NCR troopers weren't too pleased. The way I see it, this will ensure that I get even more steamies, and yeah, I clean house, both in bodies and stock. Ranger Ghost didn't seem bothered, so I ignored her and started making my way to Nipton. A couple jackals later, and Thomas managed to defeat Jacqueline, as he usually does. She's been flirting with him to try and steal his star caps, but she gave up and started shooting. Unfortunately for them, the 9 star caps that they had between themselves are now in my possession. And let me just make a tiny detour to Jackrabbit Springs. I could have just ran past the sad slugs, but the chainsaw's great. And over here we've got a guaranteed stealth boy and some hydras, so I pop those and...
Yeah! Who won the lottery? I did!
Shut up, Oliver. Oh, and Boxcar stopped complaining. This brings us to level 10, I get medicine to 55, and I'm taking the Fight the Power perk. I then put the powder gangers out of their misery, and Vulpes seems to have a task for us. So I remind him that while I used to be a courier, I actually never worked for the Legion. And this was a massacre, they didn't even stand a chance, and were now vilified by yet another faction. Nice. A Viper gunslinger saw me on the way to Wolfhorn Ranch. Fortunately, out of the ambush, it was just the one. And by fortunately, I mean for them. Obviously. In the ranch, I got Chopper. I'll be selling it later. And from here, we make our way to Camp Searchlight, where once again, we have an NPC telling me not to go into a place as I'm standing right by it. Although this time, Aster is doing us a solid, as the town is cosplaying as a microwave. Still, I ignored his advice, and a couple ghouls later, Sniper's Nest is now present on our map. I took a nap, got another star cap, and started making my way to Novak. A couple more Vipers decided to inappropriately touch my chainsaw, and honestly, I get why Motor Runner loves this. And in Novak we find Victor, who's definitely not following us.
Well, butter my butt.
Like this? I said it before, I'll say it again, I don't like being followed. What I do like is selling things I don't need to Cliff Briscoe, and stealing holotapes instead of doing everyone a favor. I then asked Dr. Ada Strauss to heal my minor radiation poisoning and
Are you sure? You won't be able to read in the dark as well.
Fair enough. Now, most doctors don't sell chems, but she does. So we're back to cat eye vision. It doesn't bother me that much, it just reminds me of Fallout 3, but it does mess up the graphics a bit. Oh, and Kaiser tried to do the NCR thing, but forgot to include stimpaks. As for our next stop, we'll be going to Boulder City, but not without giving free haircuts to a couple Vipers. I slept a bit in the Eldorado gas and service and then stole 4 things from the Lonesome Drifter. His guitar, his gun, and his hopes and dreams. In Boulder City, it's surface rifle time.
The fuck are you doing? My brother died at the Battle of Hoover Dam.
You're a little bitch and your brother was too. But fellas, I'm not here just for Benny's clues and map markers. The pub crawl continues on the Bighorn Saloon. Ike sells me a ton of drinks. I don't even think Atomic Cocktail's alcoholic, but I won't risk it. And just when I was about to start looting, what kind of saloon doesn't even have a single drink on display? Anyways, I'll be back in Boulder City in a second. First, let's go and collect Hoover Dam Snow Globe. With that done, Lieutenant Monroe lets us know that they have a situation with the Great Khans, the ones that we've been tracking down. So I offered to solve it by using the power fist on the lieutenant and the chainsaw on the troopers. Funny enough, because of video game logic, the hostages are coded as Great Khans. So attacking them results in the Khans attacking me. Even though at this point there's no NCR around. But that's just something I wanted to show you. So I'll reload before I sling the hostages and we'll be introducing ourselves to Jessup. We tell him we've gotten better and he gives us a couple souvenirs. Benny's lighter and intel. Benny betrayed them and should be back at the strip. This makes me accepted by the Khans, we reach level 11, and I keep putting points into medicine. Right after I go back to Sniper's Nest and rescue Anders. Now I'm about to royally fuck up something I really wanted to do. That happens. You see, the Great Khans are the Fiend's major chem suppliers, and I like chems. And as the courier, I could become the Great Khan's new chieftain if I get Papa Khan to name me his heir and then sneak kill him. That would put Jack and Diane's operation under my belt, and a ton of lackeys to do my bidding. So yeah, try to figure out where I messed up. On the way to Nelson we meet Ranger Milo.
This area is locked down by the NCR military until we can dislodge some Legion snakes from Nelson.
Snakes are small. Why don't you just use a gun to shoot him?
You're one of them special folks, ain't you?
Yeah, it's called being the main protagonist. Anyways, he exploded. And I might have taken down a traveling merchant thinking it was one of the NCR. No biggie. So I took another nap, and Legion assassins are running away from me. Hey, we're finally getting recognition for our fiendish behaviors. Good. In Nelson, the Legion explorer tried to kill me, so I did the same thing to the whole camp. Dead Sea is now half accurate on his name. I got the Liberator, and Dead Sea was supposed to give me the quest to destroy Camp Forlorn Hope by myself. He's a bit too dead for that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do it either way. Even the patients didn't get a pass, but Utley and Reyes got me to level 12. Points to medicine, and I took the Super Slam perk. Now, since I'm hellbent on pissing off the NCR, I'm gonna go after a couple other very specific members. In Camp Golf, we have Raz. Raz is a former Fiend. I want him dead. By the way, ignore Mags's fate. I'm not here for the misfits. He was just preventing me from sneakily killing the former Fiend. After dinner, the other NCR members on my list are all on Camp McCarran, and they're the ones who have active bounties on the Fiends. Like Major Dathry. And I mean, I will be annihilating the Fiends instead of pledging allegiance to Motor Runner, but if these guys have bounties on them, they'd likely put one on me, though now that I realize that I'm already being targeted by NCR Rangers. But I'm gonna stick to my plan, and since now everyone's aggroed, fine, we'll take care of most of the camp. Gorobats, Bitterroot, Betsy, Ten of Spades, Sterling, and Little Buster are no more. In the main building, James Shue became dessert, and back in Red Rock Canyon, our reward for helping Anders is the recipe to craft turbo. Lovely. So we're finally ready to go and meet Papa Khan, who won't name me his hair. Well, that would have been fun, but it is what it is. In return, Red Rock Canyon is no more. Even Jack and Diane had to pay for becoming completely useless to this run. That's another faction obliterated, and as I'm waiting to make it daytime, Victor teleports to us cause he's really bad at showing up timely for his Boulder City encounter. Once again, he becomes scrap metal. In the 188, the arms merchant finally has another chainsaw upgrade for us. That's the second out of 3. I got some more goodness from Samuel, and having do some repairs. Up next, the Fiends. Cook, the walking barbecue. Violet, the evil dog mom. And Driver Nephi, a golf club enthusiast whose only sport is violence. From Cook, we got some metal armor for repairs, and the Flamer, which is great as long as you have enough ammo for it. Level 13 means even better stim packs. I make a quick break to munch the loot I've been getting. Barbecued Cook's favorite ramen, Queenie, and Violet's dogs, and Violet. And she had 3 psycho on her. As for Driver Nephi, not only did he also get cooked, he was kind enough to not resist us looting his corpse. Plenty of cams in Nephi's Golf Driver. Yes, please. And it's time for the Fiend to take over the South Vegas ruins and Vault 3. Nephi's Golf Driver is also pretty neat. And in Zap's neon signs, we have a maniac to defeat. Duke. Let me just disarm the frag mines instead of getting blown up, take care of his people, and a tiny bit of chainsaw later. We did it! Oh, more cat eye. Okay. To Vault 3, the gal at the entrance was being a douche, so I killed her. I killed everyone at the entrance, but she was really being a douche. The others were just being fiends, and then I forgot about the hallway that had mines on it. Anyways, it's total cleanup time. Bryce Anders, NCR, put himself in a really stupid position. I took care of that. He won't be doing it again. A couple more fiends later, and hey, it's Daniel. Or well, it was Daniel. With a couple keys on my inventory, I used the first to free the hostages. They're now free to go to heaven. Rick, he interrupts me to thank me, doesn't even aggro as a sole survivor, although to be fair, I only gave him like half a second. This leads me to level 14, more medicine, the second toughness perk, and to using the second key for the last bit of fiends and Motor Runner. His goodest of boys bugged out. Trust me, they're both mad. No, they won't accept me as their new owner, but we can pretend they will. It also feels great to have a throne. I did end up putting them down though. If Cheyenne and Snuffles didn't get the sympathy, neither will these. Back to the 188 for a couple drinks with my favorite repairman, and then it's time to go and pass the cab check.
Howdy, partner.
First thing I do is to go visit Mr. House, who's aware of my lack of platinum chips. Not worried about that, cause the cocktail lounge indeed had cocktails. It even had another snow globe. And in the Lucky 38's casino there's plenty of cams inside the safe, so I kept having a great time, and cat eye. Once outside, apparently Ambassador Crocker from the NCR would like to meet us, but ew, No. Instead, I'm gonna go to the Vault 21 gift shop to give Sarah a very unconventional back massage. Cause on their bedroom we'll find the last snow globe. Now, there are 5 NPCs with Very Evil Karma, and I'd like to be the only one. In fact, Vulpes, Cook, and Duke have already been dealt with. That means that Mortimer and Philippe are the last 2. So when the White Gloves ask me to turn over my weapons, I oblige. I go straight to Heck Gunderson. He lets us know that his son, Ted, has gone missing in the casino, so let's investigate. Marjorie doesn't seem to know anything about it, and becomes extremely pissy when we mention that we know the White Glove Society paused activities. Cannibalism. As for Mortimer, if you do have the cannibal perk, he can be persuaded into giving us Ted. It was an honest-to-God mistake. I mean, they did want someone as the main dish. They just had no clue they grabbed Heck's son. So, we're now tasked with finding a replacement. It's not like they can simply grab another rando. Except they could, so I'll lie to Mortimer, get the key. I have no option of telling news to Heck, even though he asked for it. And I leave, so I can get my weapons back. Back inside, we make a big mess, and it's so stupid how one walking cane can block a chainsaw, but that's Bethesda's melee system. Yes, Bethesda, not Obsidian. I'm talking about the melee system that was already on Fallout 3. Anyways, Mortimer's a goner, so is Chauncey. We're vilified. Say goodbye to Marjorie, I make my way to the kitchen, and Philippe's looking really annoyed. Probably just hungry. So I got Ted, we went back to Heck, I killed both, and snacked. In Gomorrah, I had a little chat with the greeter, and before I did anything else, I went back to the Lucky 38 to sell all the snow globes for a whopping 14,000 caps. And Billy was supposed to have jokes.
Hey, come on, lady. I'm trying to put on a show here.
Are you sure? Whatever. In the tops, I showed Swank all the clues we put together, and he knows it's a really bad move to try and cross Mr. House, so he asks us to get to the bottom of this. He keeps Benny away from his room, and we're given both our weapons back and the green light to investigate further. On the 13th floor and on the big man's room we find a whole Securitron that cannot say no. Yes Man rants for a good while, telling us all we need to know about Benny's plan, which is very much going to be my plan. Vegas will be ours, not the Legions, not the NCRs, and certainly not Mr. House's. Back to Swank, and he nearly craps his pants. Sends Benny to his room, reminds me where it is, as if I haven't just come from there. And here's Benny.
What in the goddamn?
Chainsaw. That's all I have to say. It's also all I had to do. And the platinum chip, Maria, and the checkered suits are now ours. This got me to level 15, I maxed medicine, and dumped the rest into energy weapons in case I feel like using the flamer a bit more. Outside, Alario shows up, on behalf of Kaiser, gives us his mark, and tells us that any crimes we've committed against the Legion have been forgiven. And to think I had to go to the fort either way. Aren't we lucky? Oh, I completely forgot to loot the casino's bars, so yeah, we're gonna do that now. The Ultralux was already devoid of enemies, but we found something I don't think we had tasted yet. Absinthe. In the tops, the presidential suite had no one around, but that simply didn't happen in the theater or near the pool. On a more positive note, we're now vilified in the strip, so that's another goal completed. And Gomorrah, it was just more of the same, so I'm just gonna go back to the Lucky 38, rest up, and hand the chip to Mr. House. This triggers the unskippable Securitron demonstration. His Securitrons are now demons, and Mr. House tasks me with installing the chip in the Securitron vault, the bunker under the fort. Although first, I'll be using the chip to say hello to Robert Edwin House himself. Why? You were in the way. Up next, Cottonwood Cove, where a Legion explorer is super jealous that I'm the only one getting jewelry, even though everyone else is wearing skirts for Baldy. Either way, I tell Lucullus to start rowing, and they force me to disarm. I'm not even allowed to keep my stim packs, so I make a beeline for Kaiser's tent. First, he pretends he's mad about the chaos I've caused him. Then he lists me all of my achievements as if I weren't aware, the cherry on top. He opens up about his lifelong dream of feeling the ground shake. And man, I too am a dreamer, I get it. I'd love affordable housing, surplus income, interest rates that would actually be interesting instead of maintenance fees. Let's face it, there's no maintenance. So I too keep it simple. I've been planning my birthday and I just want some pineapple, some barbecue, a bottle of whiskey, and to not need to remember family and friends that I would rather get $10 as the gift than anything worth 20. In the weather monitoring station, all my inventory is returned to me, and this This is where my most evil master plan ever will unfold. I won't just be having an army of Securitrons, I'll have a subroutine of my own. One that will induce nightmares to the entire Mojave. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a Securitron with rocket launchers coming after you as Fiend Elmo.
This is Fiend Elmo. La 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 la, you're gonna die. Now I'll eat your face.
Thanks for the soundbite, John. I genuinely hope you hit your head on a cupboard and permanently forget you can do that voice. Violence might not be the answer, but sometimes it's an extremely effective solution. So with the Securiton army upgraded to their Mark II, I hit level 16, improve my energy weapon skills, take the chemist perk, and who's all happy and giggly?
I felt the ground shake a while ago.
This gives me a lot of experience. I return to the cove, and as I'm staring at La Colas, I realize that we can't leave witnesses. The origins of Fiend Elmo must forever be pinned on Mr. House. I can't leave anything to chance since I didn't really destroy the bunker, so I melt my way through the legionaries and in Kaiser's tent. The Praetorians are staggering me. A lot. The place doesn't have much space, so I force them to come out of the tent, where in the open I'm able to use VATS on them, or at least not be as much stun-locked. Kaiser died a betrayed but happy man, and so I went back to my best friend Samuel, who I'm sure I made hella rich at this point. Couple drinks, couple repairs, and when I'm back in the strip, Olario interrupts me out of nowhere, for no reason, while being beyond the gate. And that's the beauty of New Vegas. It also served as a great reminder that Olario needs to be going down. I then tell Yesman that everything he needed is now in place, so he makes himself at home in the Lucky 38, and our final task before taking over them will be to install an override chip in the El Dorado substation to reroute power to the fort's bunker. An NPC once again tries to tell me what to do, but in this case, it was a threat. Ironically, a quick in and out while no one's inside and an immediate fast travel and they don't even have time to react. And finally, one of the vendors finally has that third weapon mod for the chainsaw. We're ready. And apparently so is the Legion, or what's left of them. Cause Yes-Man is now reporting that they've begun marching towards the NCR-occupied Hoover Dam. We agreed to go there immediately to ensure everything goes our way. The howitzer is proof that sometimes, just sometimes, cool guys do look at explosions. You're cool. And I'm making use of the toughness perks, running past the randos. They don't matter and the fun's about to begin. The NCR heavy troopers were no match to the chainsaw. We installed a second override chip, this time to grant Yes-Man control over the dam. He reminds me that we've got options to either power the Securiton army over at the fort, or to destroy it. Fiend Elmo Securitrons, please. And on the east side of the dam, the jog continues until we reach the Legate's camp. The first Praetorian smacks this bitch up. Twice. Forcing me to use a couple of the few steam packs that I have, as if Lanius and Oliver won't have me need them. The remaining Praetorians have me go down to 4 steam packs. There are no chems that I can use. And we're finally face to face with Legate Lanius.
An envoy of Vegas, yet you carry yourself for battle. If so, you cannot truly be of that city of cowards.
Lanius is now leading the Legion, and once he shuts up, I'm actually able to bring him down to half health quite easily. That triggers him to flee for a bit. The 2 Praetorian guards alongside him, though, they staggered me. Great. Not only do I have to do it all over again, it seems we'll be relying on their AI. Surprisingly, it didn't take long. I thought it would have been harder, but we're not done. Well, with Lanius we are, but General Lee Oliver has a blast doing his entrance. Goes on to do the slowest of walks. Proceeds to teach me nearly all the swear words in the English language, and even worse, the cigar is a lie. I tell him to leave, he says he won't, so I give Yes-Man the signal, pop some stimpaks, medics, and by the time I come back, oh wow, yeah, okay, that was anticlimactic. So I showed my chainsaw to Yes-Man, asked him for some more chems. And can you beat Fallout New Vegas as a fiend? Hell yeah! If you enjoyed this chaotic journey, hit that like button, subscribe for more, check the playlist for more challenges and the channel for more videos. Let me know what other challenges you'd like to see, and I'd like to give a big shout out to Steve Whittle and to John Walker for their support of the channel. And to you! And if you're interested in becoming a channel member, press that join button. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed, I hope I'll see you on the next one, and I hope you have a good one. Bye!
And I guess I'll see you around. We accomplished a lot together. It was fun. Take care.